Okay. So welcome everyone to this virtual session of LPAC. Those of you who may not usually join us, we do this every other Tuesday from 5 to 6:30 as part of the English Language Professional Association of Kenya, where we share teaching and learning ideas. Tonight, we're very lucky to have two excellent presenters coming to us. We have Mwanaidi coming from Tanzania and Khadija coming from Mombasa, Kenya. And they will be sharing a virtual version of the presentation they did at the recent LZEC conference. And they've worked really hard to adapt it to our scenario. So I will turn this over to them.
Thank you, Mina. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mwanaidi Mwacha from Kigoma, Tanzania. As Mina said, I'm a secondary school teacher for 7 years now, and I've been teaching English language and literature in English. I work with TELTA, Tanzania English Language Teachers Association, and I'm a coordinator in Kigoma. So today I'm here with my fellow Khadija. We are here to present about how you can use service learning teach 20. Khadija.
Thank you, Mina. Thank you, Mwanaidi. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. I'm Khadija Ismail Suleiman from Mombasa, Kenya. I teach English and Literature at Coast Girls High School, but I'm currently in Dar es Salaam pursuing a Master of Degree in Educational Leadership and Management. I'm glad to be here this evening so that we learn what service learning is. Welcome, everyone. So we chose this topic, service learning, because it brings the best out of the learning and it translates it to education. If service learning is the key to unlocking the full potential of education. By engaging in hands-on service projects that benefit our community, our students learn valuable life skills, develop empathy and compassion, and create lasting memories. So in today's plan, we are going to start by introducing ourselves using alteration game. We will then look at 21st century skills. What do we know about them? And do we use the 4 C's in the English learning classroom? We are going to look at partnership for 21st century core content integration. How do we teach global citizenship in our classes? How do we introduce SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals? And we are going to wrap it up by introduction to service learning and community engagement for English classes. Welcome, everyone. So let us now introduce ourselves. We are going to put it in the chat. We are going to use alliteration game. Alteration is among sound devices where there is a constant repetition of identical sounds, normally at the beginning of a word. For example, my name is Khadija. It starts with letter K. So I will come up with an adjective which starts with letter K. And for my case, I can say kind-hearted Khadija. Kind-hearted Khadija. My friend's name is Mwanaidi, and her adjective is memorable. So we can say memorable Mwanaidi. Kindly put your name in the chat box using the alliteration game. You start with the adjective which starts with the first letter of your name. I will also put mine in the chat. Mwanaidi will also put hers in the chat, and everyone please put yours in the chat. We are going to use 1 minute for this activity. Thank you. We have Fair Frederick. We have Memorable Mwana.
Okay, Khadija, just for a reminder to our dear guests. So you can use this with your students' alliteration games, and they love it because as they are having fun, alliterate their names, they will also learn adjectives. So for example, you have a class of 60 students or so. So can you imagine they come up with different adjectives? You can tell them to write them and on the board or to write on the papers, sticky notes, and you place somewhere in the classroom. It is be a good way to learn adjectives.
Thank you so much, Mwanaidi. So we have so many coming in. Mina says, she says, when I was a child, maybe my sister would call me Mean Mina, but now I'll introduce myself as Mindful Mina. So thank you, Mina. We have Judith Joyous, we have Adorable, Amazing Anne, Mighty Onesmo, we have Simple Simon, we have, Thank you so much all for your contribution. Let's move on. Okay, I have a quick question for you. Do we know the 21st century skills? Have we introduced them into our teaching classes? If yes, kindly put the 21st century skill that you know in the chat. We are also going to spend 1 minute on this activity. Any 21st century skill that you know or you have used in the English language class, put it in the chat. Simon says critical thinking. We have collaboration. We have communication. Thank you so much. We have problem solving. All these are 21st century skills. We have digital teaching. You can also raise your hand if you want to say something. We have media literacy. Wonderful. Okay, just keep them coming in the chat box. We will continue, but we will also be reading. Collaboration, creativity. Thank you, Augustine. So now we are going to look at 21st century framework for learning. So we want to know, what is this 21st century framework for learning? And we can say it is a unified vision for learning to ensure students succeed in a world where change is constant and learning never stops. For real, learning never stops. We have been learning and here we are still learning and we will continue to learn. Learning will never come to an end. So this framework was developed with the input from educators, experts, and business leaders to define and illustrate skills, knowledge, expertise, and support system that students need to succeed in work, life, and citizenship. If we look at this framework here on the screen, we have life and career skills. We have learning and innovation skills, the 4 C's: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, creativity. We have information, media, and technology skills. So it argues that when school districts or a state builds on this foundation, combining the knowledge and skills with the necessary support systems, which appear down here, the standards and assessment, and curriculum and instruction, professional development, and learning environments, students will be more engaged in learning process and they will graduate better prepared to thrive in today's globally connected world. Mina, next slide, please. So we have some discussion questions here for you. In terms of technology, do you consider your class privileged, or do you consider it less privileged or overprivileged? And why is that so? If it is privileged, why is it privileged? If it is less privileged, what makes you think that it is less privileged? And if it is overprivileged, what makes it to be overprivileged? Please feel free to share your contribution either in your chat or you raise your hand and say something about it.
Okay, Khadija, thank you so much. So in terms of technology in my classroom, and that question is as simple as that, because I have to define what is technology in text. For me, anything that assists me for my classroom has electricity. So electricity, I can use it with the microphone so that my voice will be heard. So it's a technology for me. So my classroom has a projector. Although it is one in one school, it's moving, but it's helping. You can display our materials instead of writing on the chalkboard. My classroom has, has at least one computer. It is movable from one class to another, but we have it. So I can say my class is where? Privilege? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mwanaidi. Your class, it is privileged for sure. Any other person? Nina says, at the university, my classes are a little privileged. We have access to internet and computers and a projector. However, they are not always available and the electricity fails often. Anne says, privileged, each room is fitted with a projector, which uses an internal network for easy access. We also have powerful Wi-Fi, also sophisticated media input. Wonderful. Oh, our electricity never fails. We have generators. Wow, I'd like to visit your school, Anne. Onesmo says it is privileged. Okay. Daystar University, Okay, for me, I can say my class is somehow privileged, not overprivileged, not less privileged, because we have a computer lab. We have only one projector, so we keep on moving the projector from one class to another, or we take the students to the computer lab. So with this privilege, we can make all this possible. Even our phones are part of digital devices. So if you don't have the projector, you don't have the big computers, you don't have the laptops, you can still use the phone as a digital device in class. Okay, so if you have done a mock open course or you are a US Department of State alumni, or you have attended to any webinar series of American English, kindly share in the chat box what was it and what is the name of that mock or open or webinar series that you attended. You can also raise your hand to share something about it. Mina says, the new American English webinar series just started. I strongly recommend it. Yeah, Mina, I attended last week. And it was the 4 reading task to promote critical thinking. And I earned myself a badge, a very beautiful badge from American English Live. Mwanaidi says, I have my badge already. We will share the link at the end so that you can also join the webinar series.
Okay, Hadija, if I can
Yes.
explain I recently took a MOOC on STEM, English for STEM, that stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. I'm not a science teacher, but I love that topic because I love to know what's going around the world about climate change. So having seen all the problems happening through the media, so I wanted to learn what's going on. So I need to get ideas. So through STEM, you will have all the answers about climate change, not to about global warming, hurricanes, and every disaster that's happening out there. The answers are there, the sources, the effect, and what's the measures. So there are very great MOOCs out there that teach us.
Thank you so much, Mwanaidi. And they also enable us to keep at par with what is happening around the globe. Anne says she has done open professional development for teacher trainers. Wonderful, Anne. All this enable us to know what is happening. We learn the new pedagogical skills, and it enables us to change our teaching styles to keep at par with the world. Okay, let us move on. So the 21st century skills and the 4 C's. These 4 C's is what we see here on the screen: critical thinking, we have creativity, we have collaboration, and we have communication. We are saying 21st century. The learners that we are teaching are 21st century learners. They are digital natives, most of them. So as teachers, we also have to be 21st century teachers so that we are able to handle these 21st century learners. We should bridge that gap. So this 4 C's, the critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication, we will be learning here, were originally identified in 2002 at a nonprofit organization in the US, and they are known as partners of 21st century skills. So as a language teacher, our primary challenge is thinking about how can we promote these skills in our own classroom? How do we integrate these skills into teaching and learning of English language in the classrooms? For example, the critical thinking. How can we ensure that our learners are equipped with critical thinking skills? Problem solving. How do we make them become problem solvers? So critical thinking and problem solving, it's the ability to analyze information, evaluate arguments, and think creatively to solve complex problems. And it is very crucial in the 21st century skills. Collaboration and communication. And with the rise of globalization and interconnectedness, effective collaboration and communication skills are vital. Remember, these learners are becoming global citizens. So they have to acquire these skills so that they can fit very well in the global society. And this involves working in teams, sharing ideas, active listening, empathetic communication, and utilizing digital tools for effective virtual collaboration. So if we engage them in group work activities, they'll become communicators and they will be able to collaborate. Next slide, please. So the partnership of 21st century learning recognizes that all learners need educational experiences in school and beyond. Learning should not end in the 4 walls of the classroom. It should go beyond. It should not end in the school compound. It should go beyond the school. These learners, when they go back to their communities, back to the society, learning should continue. And due to this, English language teachers are advised to integrate our SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, into their teaching. where did these sustainable development goals come from? In September 2015, the General Assembly adopted 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals, building on a principle of leaving no one behind. So as teachers, we should leave no one behind. We should ensure that all our learners are on board, and it emphasizes on holistic approach to achieve SDGs for all. So what are these SDGs? We have 17 of them. So please feel free to put in the chat anyone that you know, or you can raise your hand to share. We have 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. We are in 2023, so we are almost getting there to 2030. As teachers, what have we done to ensure that we are getting there and we are leaving no one behind? Any SDG that you know, please put it in the chat. Mina says access to clean water. It's an important one. Yes, for sure it is. Mwanaidi says quality education. Quality education for all is very important. Any other? We have 17. We can use 1 minute. Mahamba says SDG, all 17 goals. Thank you, Mahamba. Liakoa, thank you. Clean environment. Feel free to unmute and say something. Jacqueline says climate action. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Zero hunger. Thank you. Okay. Wellness and well-being. Thank you so much, Caroline. Gender equality. Okay, thank you so much. Let us move on. So here we have some of the 17 goals. We have the no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education. Here is where our concern is, quality education. But when we look at all these 17 goals, they are all related to one another. They are all connected. We cannot have quality education if there is poverty. We cannot have quality education if we do not have access to clean water and sanitation. So all these are in a way connected. And as teachers, we have to ensure we integrate them into teaching and learning of English in the classroom. When we look at climate change affects education. It affects education greatly. When we have floods, learners cannot even go to schools. Schools are forced to close down for a while. If gender equality issue is not addressed, we're not going to have quality education. So the quality education depends on all this. And if we provide quality education to all, we will have decent work and economic growth. Industry, innovation, and infrastructure will be blooming. Let us move on to the next slide. We have two pictures here. We have picture A and picture B. Let us look at this picture closely and then say something about them. Teaching global citizenship in the classroom. So look at the picture closely. We are going to spend 1 or 2 minutes and talk about the pictures. What can you say about the picture? You can unmute and say something, or you put your response in the chat box.
Yes, my contribution. Yeah, thank you for good presentation. My contribution as far the picture concerned, that the first picture is in that the madam who is teaching their young kids is using the local means. But the second one, there is the IT accessories which can be used to teach the 21st century's technology. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ndiakoa. I like that. The first picture, it is the traditional method of teaching, but the second one, we have technology. Thank you so much. Any other? Let me see in the chat. Agustina says emotional positive classroom. Hi, Agustina, if you could say something about it, please. You can unmute and share still on that emotional positive classroom.
Thank you, Adija. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. For the picture number 1, regarding our context here in Tanzania, I see the classroom is well arranged with pictures that the students may look and get enjoying the environment of the classroom, though it is a traditional way of teaching. And the second one is a global learning online or using technology effectively as a classroom for our students. So to me, regarding the nature of our environment, all these pictures show emotional positive classroom, regardless those things I've said. Thank you.
Wow, I like that. Thank you so much, Agustina. Mina says, I see 2 different modes of learning, both have pluses and minuses. Maybe, Mina, if you could share something on that, the pluses and the minuses of both pictures.
Personally, I gravitate towards the first picture. I wish we could all be together in a physical environment. And I like how the teacher, we don't see technology in the picture, but we see that there's other materials being used to offer a global perspective. We see books, we see a globe. And then the second picture, I think was mentioned, it's a digital platform, which can obviously, it has its minuses as well, but we can, it's the reason why we're all here together. And I know that we have at least 4 different countries represented right now in this session, and that can only happen because of the advantages of technology.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mina. Geoffrey says, there's a learner not paying attention in picture 1. Mahamba says, we are locally rooted but globally informed. Yeah, true. So education is transformed through the 21st century skills. Very true. The first one needs class, but another doesn't. Yeah, and in both pictures, learning is taking place. So what can we say about this global citizenship? We can say it refers to the idea that individuals have a sense of belonging to a broader global community and a responsibility to contribute to its well-being. And this goes beyond national or local identities and recognizes the interconnectedness of the world, promotes a sense of shared responsibility for addressing global challenges and promoting sustainable development. Now you see where all these sustainable development goals are coming in. We are teaching them to the learners so that they can become global citizens, so that they'll be able to fit in the global society. So if you look at picture 2, you might find that these are coming from different parts of the world, but they are globally connected through the internet, and learning is taking place. So how are we going to make our learners become global citizens? Next slide, please, Mina. So the strategies that we can use to make our students become global citizens, we have empower them as leaders and teachers. As teachers, we are supposed to empower our learners to become global citizens. And how are we going to empower them? By teaching them these 4 21st century skills, the 4 skills that we have talked about, the collaboration, communication, critical thinking, creativity, we have to make them become design makers. They should be able to come up or to identify problems and design a change, design ways in which they are going to tackle these challenges in the societies. So we have to empower them. We should not be feeding them with knowledge, information. We have to involve them. We have to make sure that they learn by doing, they learn by experimenting. Incorporate global stories into your lessons, especially when you are teaching comprehension. You can bring in the global stories into the lesson, or during storytelling time, we bring in the global stories. You can search for stories from the website. You can bring some international newspapers or magazines, pick a story, and then they read. Organize pen pals for your class. I remember when we were young, when we were in primary school, secondary schools, we used to have a section in the newspaper for pen pals. So you can do that. We have the online pen pals, but we also have to teach them how to keep safe when they're online. Apply for a grant. So as a teacher, you can apply for a grant, and maybe you use the grant that you get to come up to do an activity that will enable the learners to participate fully and make a change in the society. Take them to field trips. Let them see the other part of the world. Let them go out of the class. Learning should not just be in the class all the time. They will get bored. Take them out. You don't have to go very far from the school. You can just go somewhere near. But if you can't go very far to another place, maybe if in Kenya to another county, to another municipality, you can do that. Volunteer. You can organize so that you volunteer with your students in the community service project, or any activity that is happening in the community, like cleaning the beach. On Saturday here in Tanzania, we had a beach cleanup activity, and as students of Aga Khan University, we volunteered. We went to the beach and we cleaned the beach. So you can organize that. Organize an international week and teach culture through music. So for this, we have the culture days. And during the culture day, you should not stick to your culture. Allow the students to showcase attire from different cultures around the globe. Allow them to showcase food and taste food from various cultures. Allow them to listen to music from various cultures. So you can organize an international week, and then you guide your learners to do all this. So we have some contribution in the chat. Let me go through them quickly. Someone says, incorporate digital platforms. Hadija, incorporate digital platforms in teaching and learning. This might be done in a positive way of learning where they can exchange ideas globally. Yeah, very true. And these platforms are very, very important. We are training them from the very young age on how to connect to other people, and this will create harmony. It will create peace, and there will not be attacking of people online, countries attacking each other online. So we also have to teach our learners to respect other people's culture, to respect other people's spaces, and to avoid this social media attack. Mwanaidi says, digital platforms unite. Very true, Mwanaidi. Like the way we are united, Mwanaidi. We met online and we became very good friends.
Thanks to technology.
Yeah, thanks to technology. Mina, next slide, please. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your contribution. So I'd like to take this opportunity, sorry for that, to welcome Mwanaidi to take us through service learning. We're going to see how 21st century skills, sustainable development goals, and service learning are connected. Welcome, Mwanaidi.
Thank you so much, Khadija, Mina. Good evening, everyone, once again. So I will introduce service learning and we are going to share our ideas because I believe to most of us, it is not something new. It is there, but rather we ignore it or due to some reasons, we fail to conduct them as needed effectively. So service learning is an experiential learning approach within a course so that it connects the course curriculum with the community-based experiences. Service learning is something there to back you up as a teacher in your curriculum. So we already know that each country has their own curriculum for education. So service learning is there like a plan B, like a way out of differentiating instructions. As we believe that our learners are differently, and so they need to be treated differently so that you can assume that they understood our lessons. So service learning integrates a reflection to maximize meaningful learning. So by meaningful learning, I mean we want our students to achieve equal goals, results by the end of our instruction. So how do you ensure that these students have grasped what you wanted to convey? It's service learning that will give you a reflection because it is something that you can see by the naked eyes. It is not a story, it is not a theory. They are going to do something and you are going to see it. So also service learning, it is there to collaborate with the community partners on identified priorities. Depending on what you chose to do as service learning is always collaborate your students. You'll take your student out to the community and they will do a lot together. So you can see the benefit from the start. Making your students able to stand before the community and give a hand, or they help a community, or they engage in solving problems or identifying opportunities. Right from the very early age, students are aware of their surroundings. Contrary to what we do now, for example, in Tanzania, we are doing a great thing by our curriculum and everything, but we are now trying to revise our curriculum to meet these service learning approaches, to make our students able to depend on themselves after they graduate. So contrary to when you can graduate more on it, we prepare the student to be able to cope with the life awaits them. By doing this, it will build their network. You can imagine a student in the classroom, now they know the mayor, the DEOs, all the administratives in your community, and they know and they have their contacts. So it is easy for that, that way. And thanks to service learning, it will make them networking and to work better in the future, right when they are at school. So in the next slide, Mina. So a service learning and a community engagement, as I said, that you are going to do service learning exactly in direct and advocate work. So to help them to do or to serve the community. You're implanting this spirit of serving the community.
Oh, I think we lost Mwanaidi. She disappeared from my screen. Well, while we are waiting for her to return, if anyone has done any service learning, they can feel free to share what they've done in the chat. Oh, she's back. Okay, great.
Yeah, network as usual, technology. So service learning and community engagement Here we see, as I said earlier, is a two-way educational activity where students apply their classroom acquired skills in a real community. So they live in a community and they acquire different skills in our classroom. So what for? Why are we struggling to teach them everything we teach? For them to apply these knowledges to the real community, for to take the real responsibility. If we want them to be global citizens, if you want them to be empathetic, they should start demonstrating these skills right at the early age, because we know that if we have bad leaders now, it is because something from the past. Because as students, whatever the input they have is the output they will showcase in the future. So at the early age, you need to make them to assume real responsibilities. For they're able to do something seen and well appreciated with their community, something that has consequences impactful to their community. So this is the whole sense of service learning. Integrate student skills to serve the community by saving not only problems, but even identifying opportunities for development. They should not stay there. You can find a graduate with a degree, bachelor degree, says, I cannot sell mandazi because I have a degree. So they will rather stay at home watching games and television instead of going out there. So we need to teach them these skills, entrepreneurship, right from the early age. They should not be afraid of anything. They should not choose work. This is for educated, this is for non-educated. We should destroy these feelings so that we can help them to live, because the reality is very harsh. And you need to tell them the truth while they are in the class, like the pictures you can see them. So you need to inspire students to serve. In the next slide. So as teachers, maybe we're wondering, how are we going to design a service learning project? It is very easy. The only thing needed before these steps is your willingness to serve the community without expecting anything else in return, because you know teachers, God sent. So the first one is a need-based design. Here, you alongside your students will brainstorm about the community needs and the problems. So you'll decide with your students, what do you want to do from a particular module, for example. You have learned taking care of the environment or something else. So you want to apply your acquired skills to help the community. You can design something like what Hadija said. They went to Coco Beach and cleaned the seashores. So it is something that you see it is very important in your community at that particular age, then you do. Another is curriculum-based design. So this is coming from your curriculum that is instructing you to do something. For assessment activities, take your student to the field, they meet people, they discuss things. So it is there, described openly. They need to do service learning. From the beginning of the curriculum, you know, you are instructed to do that, and you are giving support to do that. As Hadija said, for all this to happen, we need support from professional developments, curriculum, when there's curriculum designs, and the other supports like finances. In some projects, they need fund, but you can always start small. It doesn't need $1 million to plant a tree. It is always start with you. So in the next slide, let us see teachers' role in service learning. What are your role? As we say, this is the 21st century and the students are digital natives, and the government and the educational stakeholders are trying to put away with teacher-centered classrooms. Teachers assume all the roles, responsibilities. They all know, like they know everything, and assume students they don't have anything. So this is very bad, and we are trying to to destroy this feeling, so that by giving students ability to take the ownership of their own learning. Someone said in the chat books, engage your student in content creation. This is very nice because they feel the ownership of the lesson from the beginning. So we have this democratic classroom where everything is possible. So your first role is to identify the need and develop the project idea as a facilitator. Alongside with them, brainstorm the ideas, come up with a project idea. I will tell you mine at the end. The second one is to prepare the student in the class. So how do you prepare your students? Assign them different tasks. Give them roles. The leadership skills as one among the 21st century skills. Give them leadership roles. You will be the chair. Give him the duties and responsibilities of the chairman or chairwoman. You will be the timekeeper for this project. Give them direction. At the end, you'll do little less work and they will do the rest because you trusted them. Nothing impressed students than seeing their teacher have trust in them. Don't go to the whole group, just call the timekeeper. What did you agree? What do you have so far? All these will help them to show this role of leadership skills. Also, they will communicate and they will collaborate. You can see all the forces at work just by you playing the facilitator role. Evaluate the outputs. Before they embark on their journey, just tell them, this is not a vacation. We're not going to this trip to have fun only. Of course, you're allowed to have fun. Life is not that easy. It's not that hard, but we are going to learn. I am going to evaluate each and every single step of the journey. So if I assigned you a role, please, as you are enjoying, please make sure your role is taken care of. So you evaluate the output, assessment, formative and summative. Assess them, give them feedback, encourage them, motivate them, and at the end of the time, disseminate the results. Have fun with them, enjoy, showcase them, invite a guest speaker, invite someone. Celebrate their achievements. Students, they love to be celebrated in whatever simple ways that you can. Celebrate their achievements. I remember in my classroom just the other week, I prepared a play, The Lion and the Jewel, and I assigned them different tasks. So you'll be the costume designer, you'll be the script writer, you'll be Lakunli, you'll be Baroka, the characters now, and they loved it so much. And I gave them some marks, and I celebrated their achievement before the whole school. They practiced their drama in front of the school, and they loved it so much. They are now famous by the character's name. So, madam, can we have another play? Role play? So they want more. And if you do a successful service learning, it is the beginning of the next successful service learning. They will never want to stop. It will be your culture. In the next slide, we can see now, maybe we are wondering, what are these service learning projects? Now you can see the relationship between our slides. Khadija explained about SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. So if you are wondering where am I going to get these ideas, please go there. Because we promised in the summit that no one should be left behind. If a Chinese student in China, they learn about sanitation and clean water, even Tanzania, a student from Kigoma, the very remoteness area in Tanzania, should have this opportunity to learn about clean water and sanitation. Climate change, zero hunger. Brainstorm ideas based on those SDGs, and you'll see your class will become the global class. For example, I have a student, access student, they went for PayLip, a program in America for 4 weeks. And I was very optimistic. I said, these students are not going to fail me because I taught them everything they need to know. They are now global citizens. They won't embarrass me in America. They know how to live with people, to cope, initiative skills, leadership skills. They know everything. So I was rest assured that everything will go as planned. And it was true. I received an email. My students were the exemplary students. They knew everything. They know where to be at the right time, the specific, what they do, everything as needed. So you can see it is good to prepare your students, believing that they are someone in the future. They will live somewhere outside their country. So they need to remember you. Our teacher taught us this. They need to remember you. That's as a help. So one of the projects you can do about Environmental Cleaning Day, this is more famous and it's something easy to do. So charity begins at home. You can start by cleaning your environment at school, cleaning the teachers' quarters, cleaning somewhere. You can start small. Always they say if you cannot do great thing, do small one with love. Cleaning, Environmental Cleaning Day, it is very possible. Community garden. You can talk now. You cannot go to plant a garden in a community somewhere without the authorities' knowledge. So now you introduce them to the authorities, the community authority administration. These are my students. I want them to be ready to serve the community. Kindly, can you allow us to do this and this? What do you need? They are always there to help you. You can also do environmental awareness campaign. Suppose you have planted the trees already and the people, they are cutting the trees. As you plant, they cut. So you say, what do we need? Educate the mass. You can now come up with posters, different campaign that you see suits your context. And if they know the meaningful of having a plant in a community, they will protect the plant like life itself. They need education. So you have a lot of projects that you can design with your students with accordance to your context. In the next slide, we can see now a service learning process. Remember, I told you that a service learning is not a volunteerism. It's not something like students, they can decide, I can do this, I cannot do this. No, my friend, they need to know this is a part of learning. Is a part of reflection, application, is a higher order of the learning. So you have to tell them that these are our objective in stage 1. By the end of this project, I believe you are going to master this kind of standard, perhaps in a module, maybe an objective, depending on your subject. For example, the good thing of service learning is that any teacher can have a service learning, even a mathematics teacher. They can prepare a service learning. The teacher teaching economics, history subjects, English. So it is not limited. Any teacher can do a service learning. In the stage 2, you have to determine the acceptable evidences. So I am going to assess your feedback. I'm going to assess your work. Tell them before. I will use this to assess. Maybe you can give them a rubric. Although in Tanzania, rubrics are not more famous. I don't know why. Teachers, they love, I don't know, it's like they want students to fail. But when I take this course online from US, I see they give you rubrics. For example, if it's an essay, in the introduction, if you do this, I will give you this mark. If you do this, I will give you this. It is very nice. I think teachers, we can adapt to this. Although they will get everything if they follow through to their rubrics. So in the stage 3, it facilitates the iPad youth experience. iPad stands for investigate, planning, action, reflection, and demonstration. So you have to make sure that your students are engaged right from the beginning alongside the community. Whatever they do, the community must be aware of it, and they should benefit from the students' learning. So they investigate maybe a problem, investigate an opportunity out there, investigate something. You help them plan the whole thing. For example, our project will take how much time? Maybe a month, a week, 3 days, a day. They plan everything. Where should start? How will it end? And they should plan the action date. For example, on this date to this date, we'll be in the field, we'll be where, doing what. So they know and update the the authorities up front. Then it is a time for reflection. You need to reflect every step you take so that they can see it's a real learning takes place. Then the demonstration, the best part of service learning, celebrating their achievement, even if you see the objective were not met. Please, you can have a smiley face and help them keep on fighting. There's always something for everyone. I believe the next project will do more because they will learn from their mistakes. On the stage 4, this is a stage for teachers now. Self-assessment. You can write in the chat box, how do you assess yourself? You can write on the chat box, how do you do self-assessment? And when was the last time you did this? If you can be honest, because I cannot remember. If you want to speak, you can unmute yourself and share. How do you do self-assessment? How do you be, truthful to yourself?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Madam One Idea and
Yeah.
teacher for good presentation. Yeah, I am Leonard Indiako here from Dar es Salaam. I would like to make some contribution. Congratulations for your contribution, for your presentation. But
Thank you.
what I can have there on service learning, for example, for that cycle where you begin with to identify the need and develop the project and whatever, I can take an example of myself. Despite of course, I am much interested with the music, and I really like singing. You give as an example that you can prepare the project, then you assign learners on what are they going to perform so that they can be equipped with it, what is all about the aim, to attain the aim, the goals of that project. On the other hand, as the person who likes singing and who compose, I used to compose, I can compose the music through which I can have a certain song where I'm going to involve a few students as a choir, and that through singing is a part of practicing. And that being the case, if at all that issue I innovated, then I put it in the song, learners are going to be equipped through song, and through song, they are going to make it the practice. Hence, when they will be singing, others listening, in that situation, learning is taking place according to how I planned. That's one. The second issue that I would like to contribute, there is a certain point where you have said maybe if you can fail, you can think of another alternative. Of course, yes. When you begin a certain project, sometimes you can have some kind of weaknesses which can make you maybe not to be disappointed at all. But if at all that activity is involving learners, involving other people, what I can suggest is that once you reach a time that there's no 100% successful, but appreciate the step, even if it is 2 or 3 steps. Tell those whom you are together performing a certain issue or that project, that now we have failed, but from A, B, C, we have failed to reach at the G, but at least A, we are good, B, we are good. Once you appreciate those major the former steps, it encourages that those learners to think, where did we fail? Why didn't we get at the G? But because we have already passed these ones, so next time we can go further. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, brother. That was wonderful contribution. And I learned something from there. And rest assured I'm going to steal that idea of singing. Students, somehow they love singing. Singing in the music, there is something there, like a secret breakthrough with the traditional methods. Just speak their language and see the magic it has. So
Yes.
self-assessment, what, for example, which outcome were realized? I don't know how many of us do this, assess the objectives. I did all this while. Did I reach my objectives? If not, what else? So what? What work and what adjustment need to be made? So you need to be true to yourself. Like this method, won't work. So you need to be flexible. And the flexibility is one among the 21st century skills. A teacher needs to be flexible. Use the materials however suits your class or your students' age, needs, abilities, and the aspirations. Some students, so if you differentiate your instructions, you'll see the results. So you don't have to be lazy, or you don't have to use only one method throughout the year. The teacher has one lesson notes to teach all the 100 students throughout the year. You need to assess your materials, you need to assess your seating plan, assess everything now and then. Then you are going to see you have a successful classroom. So in the next slide. Okay, now it's a time that you can break out and do a little activity. As I said earlier, we're all teachers, professionals, graduating from different universities with different skills and knowledge to share. So I believe it's our time now. We can have this session, and we can have us a little chat in our breakout room. So while you're in your breakout room, please kindly share your memorable service learning experience you have had and how it impacted you or your students, how it built a connection with the community. What challenges did you encounter maybe during your service learning project? And if you have never done a service learning, no worries. So you're going to learn here how you can come up with your own very soon. So from what you have learned today, do you think you'll be able to do a service learning, Mina?
I hope so. Shall I go ahead and open up the rooms?
Yes, please.
Okay, I have about 3 to 4 people in the rooms, and we're doing pretty good on time. We'll be in there just under 10 minutes, and I will be out here. If you fall out of your room, I will do my best to put you back into the room.
Thank you, Mina.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mina. I visited most of the rooms and they were very active. I loved what I heard. And most of the teachers, for some reason, they didn't start service learning, but they are promising that from now on, they will try their level best to make sure that they give their students awareness of service learning and its benefits, and to see them apply the acquired skills to the community. So it is very great, and I wish you all the best. You can all reach out to each other. You can share. Mina is there, we are here. We can always help one another. The solidarity that we are. So in the next slide, so we say from our own experiences and from a review of a research literature, including accounts of different authors' experiences with their own projects, we can conclude that service learning is one of the best available ways to achieve a strong student engagement in their own learning. So if you wish to see your students achieve strong student engagement, this service learning is for you. You need to go for it and start. We teachers, we know how hard it is to make our students fully engaged. It is not a secret. To stay engaged with what goes on in the confined spaces of academic classroom. We all share the same predicament in our schools, 4 walls with only desk, some sitting at the, it is chaotic, but we can still use service learning as a way out. So service learning gives learners the opportunity to use their English skills in a new and creative way. Why are we teaching them English language? The English is a medium of instruction. English, they can use this language as a global language. It's a language for international communication. So alongside those communication, help them to gain skills, help them to use English to help themselves in the future by exploring the issues in their communities and without diluting or degrading the academic quality of the program. So service learning is there to support you and never to dilute anything from your curriculum. So you are safe with your curriculum. This is all is only a medium or a way out of differentiating our instructions. Thank you so much for your attendance. Mina, back to you. Khadija.
Thank you so much, Mwana. So as we come to the end of this session on service learning, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to each and every one of you for your active participation and engagement throughout the session. It has been truly inspiring to witness your dedication to education and your commitment to incorporating service learning into your teaching practice. I went to some of the breakout rooms and some of the teachers have done it, but they didn't know it's service learning. But with all what they have learned here today, I'm sure they'll be able to come up with their own projects for service learning. In fact, service learning is a powerful tool that allows us to bridge the gap between classroom learning and the real world application. It empowers students to become active participants in their communities, developing essential skills, fostering empathy, and promoting social responsibility. And if we combine this with academic learning, we can nurture well-rounded individuals who are prepared to tackle the challenges of the 21st century, and they'll be able to fit so very well in this society. So just remember that service learning is not a one-time event, as Mwanaidi has put it, or a mere add-on to the curriculum. It is a mindset, a pedagogical approach that will enable you to enable the learners acquire these 21st century skills. And it also requires us to think creatively, to step outside the traditional boundaries of the classroom and to embrace the diverse needs and talents of our students. So thank you so much once again. And together, let us continue to create a brighter future through the power of education and service learning. Back to you, Mina.
Thank you, ladies. I think I speak for all of us that we're feeling very enthusiastic and inspired. I see that Mahamba has his hand up. Go ahead.
Well, just appreciation actually. I want to thank both Mwanaidi and Hadija bringing, this wonderful topic of, sustainable development goal that Hadija has really explained in detail, and also Mwanaidi Mwacha, who brought up the part of self-learning. And I want just to share a little bit that if it was not really self-learning, I would have not been like who I am today. Because I remember in 2017 when I was among the students in my university, St. Augustine in Mwanza, I was really attached one of the lecturer, Dr. Pacho, who introduced self-learning in Tanzania. And I was really engaged to many projects and many, community in Tanzania. So through there, I learned quite a lot. I met many people, community. I met some organization that actually elevated me to know how to write projects, how to design some, activities. And right now, I see what Mwanaidi has said about self-learning. If we bring it to the curriculum, maybe we can change the whole community and society in Tanzania and maybe in Africa and East Africa. Thank you for that. And hats off to both Mwanaidi and Hadija. Thank you.
Thanks, Mahamba. There are many, many wonderful comments in the chat. And I think there are about 1 million things we can identify from this presentation that are useful and inspiring. But something that really just stood out to me is that both Mwanaidi and Hadija bring so much joy to this that you can tell. Their passion is very evident, their knowledge is very evident, but you can see how much joy they take in their teaching. And I think as this presentation has gone along, that's kind of infected everyone here. I can just see from the comments that everyone just seems very happy and excited to be engaged in the classroom. And something that kind of connects it, something was talked about rubrics and other things, is of course we're always focused on our learners, but if we're not enjoying the experience, then we can't make our learners enjoy the experience. And so I think that this has shown us a way to tie together many things, and then also just brings a lot of joy to what we all do. So I want to thank our excellent presenters, and to also thank everyone who's contributed and come here tonight to join us and share their wonderful ideas, their support. And we'll be doing this again, something similar, in 2 weeks. And actually another very interesting topic as well. I believe Rukia Mohammed will be presenting a presentation that was supposed to be at LZAC, but she very gracefully bowed out to allow others to present because we had some issues with our scheduling. So it's a presentation we don't want to miss. It's going to be, I think, have a lot of similar themes here. And so I hope that you'll all join us for that. And also we have some contact information here. Very helpful.